You may have heard the old line, red wine is good for your heart, but the research has shifted. That story is outdated. The risks, especially for women in perimenopause, now outweigh the benefits. So if your sleep has been off, if your energy is unpredictable, if your moods have been swinging on the menopausal monkey bars, this might be the piece of the puzzle you're missing. We're going to talk about that today. So here we go. Hello, beautiful one. Welcome back to the Health Walk podcast. This podcast is for the midlife woman who is ready to reclaim her energy, hormones, and health, one powerful step at a time. I'm Jacqueline, your guide, your fellow midlife sister, a certified health coach, and I'm so glad you are here. Today's episode might stir something in you because we're talking about alcohol. And we're not talking about it from a place of guilt or shame, but from a place of knowing. You might think a glass of wine here and there is no big deal, but what if I told you your body disagrees, especially your beautiful body after 40? So when you understand what alcohol is doing to your midlife body, to your sleep, your energy, and even that brilliant brain of yours, you'll be able to make choices that work and support the goals you're trying to achieve instead of working against it, right? So grab some tea, some water, and let's talk about this. Here we go. So imagine with me, you're at a dinner party and you're relaxing, you're having a glass of wine and you're thinking, this is nice. It's been a hard day or hard week, and you're unwinding. And then by the time you get home, your face might be flushed or you're feeling hot and your heart is racing a little bit. And then the next morning, you're foggy, you feel heavy, and you're just tired, like you haven't really slept. There's a reason for that. You see, as women, we metabolize alcohol differently than men. We have less water in our bodies, so the alcohol is more concentrated and it lingers longer. Add to that, we produce fewer alcohol metabolizing enzymes, right? So our brain, our liver, our organs are exposed longer. That one drink, it may not feel like that much, but to your body, it's a slow leak. And in midlife, even slow leaks matter. Now, you layer on that we're aging, and aging is not a curse, it is a gift, but we are aging, and as we get older, we lose even more water. That glass of wine at 45, it's going to hit a lot harder than it did at 25. And it's not just the wine, it's also in midlife, often we are on different medications and it's interacting with that alcohol. We have a slower recovery and our hormones are changing. And you might have heard, red wine is good for your heart, but that research, it's been proven that in fact that red wine is impacting your body negatively. The risks, especially for us in perimenopause, it outweighs the benefits that it could have given you, right? So if you are noticing that alcohol is impacting you differently, or maybe you haven't noticed, and maybe the next time you have a drink, you can test and see and take note of how you are feeling. If your moods have been swinging on those menopausal monkey bars, this might be the piece of the puzzle, the alcohol. It's just something to consider. And here's where alcohol sometimes creeps in. We're going to get a little bit more personal. More and more women are drinking as they age, and it's subtle. It's a glass of wine after a long day. It's a pour while you're making dinner, a little treat on the weekend, things like that. And it's not that anyone's being reckless. It's often that we're tired and we're carrying a lot. There's work, there's family, there's loss, there's all kinds of things going on, expectations that we have. And that glass of wine can feel like a reward or a relief. The thing is, over time, it becomes a ritual, a habit, and without realizing it, for some people, becomes a way to cope with stress. And while alcohol can temporarily, numb that anxiety or stress or depression, it really just amplifies it later. And let's just be honest, midlife already has enough going on and emotional roller coasters, and our bodies are doing all kinds of things. This component, it just adds to the stress of the journey. So again, it's not about feeling guilt or shame about all of this. It's just being aware of the patterns that we are living in order to support ourselves. And not just support ourselves, but support ourselves in a more informed way and in tune with what our body keeps a score. And it truly does. So let's talk about what alcohol actually does inside of you. It can trigger or worsen hot flashes. It can disrupt your hormone balance. It can lower your bone density, fragment your sleep, that deep REM sleep. It can slow your exercise recovery. It can cause dehydration, which is followed by bloating and that puffiness that we're all trying to get rid of. It can accelerate liver damage. Now, when I asked several women if they could get rid of, like wave a magic wand and completely get rid of their perimenopausal symptoms, like what would they be? And the top ones were brain fog, memory issues, they'd want to fix that, hot flashes, and sleep, and the belly bulge, and the bloating and the puffiness. And it's interesting to think that just removing this from what we're consuming can begin to reverse some of these symptoms. So I'm not saying all of this to scare you. I'm saying it because your body is talking to you when it's responding in these ways, and it deserves to be heard. The mornings where you wake up exhausted, even though you went to bed early, it could be that wine, the puffy face, the midsection bloat that won't budge. It's your body communicating to you. It's not shaming you, but just to remind you, and it's worth paying attention to. So let's talk about moderation, what that looks like. Most most glasses of wine hold 8 to 10 ounces, right? And if moderate drinking for women is 5 to 7 drinks per week, so one glass of wine that's holding 10 ounces, for example, is already 2 drinks, because one drink equals 5 ounces of wine or 1.5 ounces of liquor or 12 ounces of beer. Even moderate intake still impacts our hormones, your sleep, and your energy. It was so fascinating to just read all of this and see it. I never really thought about it in this way, but it's very, very fascinating. So if you're feeling off and alcohol is still on your weekly menu, it's worth exploring just to see what ways that you can decrease it, or if you choose to completely remove it, because everyone doesn't have to go cold turkey. But you can get curious just to see if you make changes. And you can also evaluate, is this still serving me? Is this still something I want to keep consuming? Because you get to choose how you feel in this next chapter, and how you support your body in the early stages will be wonderful as this continues to progress. So there's no pressure to do anything. There's just a lot of possibility. You know what I mean? There are different things that you can do to improve, or not improve, to protect your brain and your body. You can limit your alcohol consumption to 1 drink a week if you want to try that, or however many that you're having, slowly cut it down. And you want to always, after you drink, you want to follow your drink with electrolytes and not just water. You want to rehydrate. You want to make sure that you are supporting your overall health with exercise and sleep and having a nutrient-dense diet. And if you don't take supplements, you may want to consider taking omega-3s, vitamin and antioxidants like vitamin C, vitamin E, to reduce inflammation. Turmeric is also another wonderful way to reduce inflammation. If you have a morning tea, you can have like a turmeric tea, which is fantastic. Hot water, turmeric, some ginger, some black pepper. If you want some honey and about half the juice from like half a lemon, stir that up and drink it. It's fantastic. It also helps reduce the bloating. You can also pair your drink with soda water or a natural sugar-free mixer like sparkling water and lime. Opt for organic or non-GMO distilled options. And you can drink clear drinks like vodka, gin, or tequila, which contain fewer toxic byproducts. And there's so many things that you can do. You can explore what works for you if you feel like you need to make some changes with what you're drinking. And again, I don't want you to hear me say that 1 drink is going to completely derail your health goals and everything like that. But The more mindful you are about what you're consuming and how much, the better you can take care of your body, and you'll be around to have a, quality of life that you want. And that's the goal, right? So as you're considering all of this, whether you cut back, you pause, or you keep sipping with just more awareness, do it with love for yourself and with power. You have the knowledge. You're not a project to fix. You're a sacred person, a space to honor. And I'm honored that you spent this time with me today. And remember, your body's not something to numb or shrink, but it is your temple. You are designed and you are made to stay connected and to discern what is serving you, not to disconnect. You're not made to escape or numb out, but to live. You live with joy. And as you go today, may you walk in truth and stand in grace and strength and peace and in purpose. Thank you for spending time with me today. If you found this episode helpful, or you know someone who would enjoy it, please share it with a friend. Leave me a review and reach out on Instagram. Let me know your thoughts. I'm at in.herhealth on Instagram. Thank you and have a wonderful, wonderful day.